The council was silent for 2 days. Then they moved. Across the galaxy, orders were sent through secret channels. No public announcements, no trials. Just a message with one target: anyone who heard the forgotten signal. They called in the silencers, an elite force trained not to fight wars, but to erase stories. Their job was not to kill people. Their job was to kill truth. Jara knew this. She had worked in the systems division before she went off the grid. That's why she didn't wait. As soon as she saw the first sign, her system pinged by an untraceable code, she ran. The drone carrying the human message had already completed its mission. The signal had been broken into pieces, spread across damaged satellites, scavenger ships, even abandoned stations. Some parts were clear, some scrambled, but all of them pointed to one idea. The war against humans was started on a lie. Now more and more people were beginning to question everything. And the council didn't like questions. Far away from the main Union systems, a small desert moon called Trasfor had always been quiet. It was where Lurin's friend Jara had hidden after sending the message. But tonight, 3 black ships landed without warning. The silencers came out, wearing skin-tight armor and masks that blocked all ID scans. They didn't speak. They didn't warn. They simply erased. By the time the sun rose, 30 people were gone. No bodies, no evidence, but one camera, hidden under a junk pile, captured a blurry image. A silencer holding a data chip, nodding once, then vanishing into thin air. The image was enough. Someone uploaded it to the underground net, and the whispers grew louder. Back on Earth's edge, Kale stood in a cold control room inside the hidden base. The air smelled of old metal and recycled water. Around him, 12 humans, all survivors from the original purge, sat watching silent screens. Some were born after the war. Some remembered it clearly. One of the older women, Illyra, looked at Kale. "They know," she said. "The council knows the signal escaped." Kale nodded. "Good. Let them come." He walked to the center table and tapped an old command pad. Lights flickered. A deep hum filled the room. And then screens lit up, dozens of them, showing faces from across the galaxy. Old friends, lost allies, hidden rebels. This was the Ghost Line, a network of secure channels used only once before, right before Earth fell. Now, after all these years, it was waking up again. One face spoke first, a gray-skinned alien with deep scars under his eyes. "I thought you were all dead," he said. "Most of us are," Kale replied. "But some things don't die." Another voice joined. A machine intelligence, calling from a metal city orbiting a dying star. "Is it true?" it asked. Was the war built on a lie? Kale didn't answer with words. He sent the signal. The voice of the human from the recording echoed across the network once more. "If you're hearing this, the war wasn't our fault." Silence followed, then voices. Many. Angry, afraid, confused. The truth was burning through the darkness like a slow fire. The council could not stop it, not now. But they would try. Back in council space, an emergency meeting was called. 11 beings sat around a black stone table. They were the ones who had made the decision to strike Earth. They had buried the truth, rewritten history, and kept the Union in fear of humanity. But now, that fear was rising again. And it was no longer in their control. One of them, a tall blue creature with 4 eyes, slammed a metal hand on the table. "This cannot continue," he said. "Find the source. End it." Another, more cautious, asked, "What if the humans still have the original data? The full archive?" That changed the room. If the humans had the original files from before the war, the ones showing the real reason behind the council's attack, then the entire Union might turn. Billions could rise against the council. Where would they hide it? Someone asked. A pause. Then a name was spoken. Caro Prime. A dead world, destroyed like Earth. But beneath its ashes, something ancient still slept. The Council sent a new order. Reach Caro Prime before the humans do. Destroy whatever is left. But they were too late. On a small cargo ship painted like junk, Kale and a young alien rebel named Tora were already on their way to Caro Prime. The AI that had uncovered Project Silent Flame now guided them. It spoke only when needed. Caro holds more than files, it said. It holds the memory core. Proof. Names. Maps. Can the Council find it? Tora asked. Only if we fail. The ship flew into the dark sector. Behind them, silencer ships followed. But Kale didn't look back. He was done hiding. He had seen his planet burn. Now it was the galaxy's turn to see the truth. The cargo ship moved through deep space like a shadow. Old engines, cracked paint, broken lights. It looked like junk, but inside, it carried two people and one truth powerful enough to shake the entire galaxy. Kale sat in the front seat, eyes on the dark screen. Next to him, Tora checked the scanner every 5 seconds. Her blue fingers danced quickly across the controls. She had never been to Caro Prime before, but stories about it scared even the strongest pilots. A cursed world, they called it. Silent, ruined, buried in ash. The AI's voice echoed softly from the ship's core. 3 Union ships following. Cloaked. 10 minutes behind. Kale didn't blink. We reach the atmosphere in 7. They won't catch us in time. But they will follow, Tora said. They'll bring more. We only need one thing, Kale replied. The memory core. That was the plan. The AI had revealed that the last full copy of Project Silent Flame, the secret files that proved the Council started the war, was hidden beneath Caro Prime. Not just documents. The full memory core from the first Council server. Names, dates, orders, truth. As their ship dropped into orbit, the screen lit up with red lines. Caro Prime was dead. Broken towers stood like teeth in black sand. Storms of dust circled the ruins, but deep under the old capital, something still pulsed, something alive. Landing now, Kale said. Wake the ghost net. Tora turned to him. You're sure? He nodded. We won't survive this alone. It's time. Tora pulled out a small box no larger than her palm. Inside it was a simple switch, one that had been waiting for decades. She pressed it. Far across the galaxy, in the quiet corners of old rebel zones, ancient machines woke up. Satellites blinked. Buried nodes came online. People who hadn't heard the word GhostNet in 20 years suddenly received a ping. Some were old soldiers, some were hackers, some were former Union officers who had once believed in peace. All of them heard the same message. This is Cal of Earth. The lie ends now. Back on Council Station Prime, alarms rang through the high tower. A signal had been sent. Not public, but not hidden either. Something was moving through the dark channels of space, reactivating systems that were thought lost. The Council leaders met again in panic. They're waking the ghost network, one said. Impossible, another replied. We destroyed it. But they hadn't. They only broke the surface. The ghost net had always been deeper, spread through forgotten tech, hidden under trade networks, even inside Union defense systems. Designed by humans, it was built to hide until the right signal called it back. And that signal had now been sent. We have to cut the net, a leader ordered. Now. But it was already too late. On a junk planet called Veshnine, a retired engineer received the signal while repairing an old bot. He hadn't fought in years, but when he heard Cal's voice, he stood up and pulled out a dusty case. Inside was a weapon, a code gun, one of the last ever made. He smiled. I knew they'd come back. Back on Caro Prime, Kale and Tora reached the entrance to the underground vault. The AI guided them through tunnels filled with ash and metal bones. They passed broken statues of council leaders, now cracked and forgotten. At last, they stood in front of a giant steel door. "This is it," the AI said. "Behind that wall is the original server. No edits. No lies." Cale stepped forward. His hand shook as he pressed the unlock sequence. The door opened. Cold air rushed out. Inside, a small room glowed with blue light. In the center, a cube floated. The memory core. Cale walked slowly to it. He reached out and touched it. Images filled his mind. Not dreams. Real memories. Soldiers getting orders. Council leaders signing documents. Earth being marked for destruction before the war had even started. Tora gasped. "It's all true." Cale nodded. "We need to send it." The AI began uploading. The ghost net, now fully awake, opened its doors to the data. One by one, secret files traveled across the stars. To rebels, to spies, to broken colonies, to Union citizens, and some even reached Council worlds. The truth was spreading. The silencer ships finally arrived above Cairo Prime. Too late to stop the upload, but not too late to kill. They launched fire toward the ruins. Explosions shook the ground. Dust filled the sky. Inside the vault, Cale and Tora held their ground. The AI finished the upload. "It's done," it said. "The galaxy knows." Cale turned to Tora. "Ready?" She smiled, even as the walls cracked around them. "Let's go out with a bang." And together, they sent one final message before the fire took them. "We told the truth. Now it's your turn." The vault exploded. But above, in the stars, the ghost net stayed alive. The truth was no longer a secret. It was a signal moving faster than any fleet. The war had started with a lie. Now, the galaxy would have to choose what to believe. The message spread like fire. Across the galaxy, every hidden corner of the ghost network came alive. Screens lit up. Radios crackled. Broken satellites turned and whispered truth through forgotten waves. People everywhere heard the final broadcast from Cale and Tora before their vault was destroyed. "We told the truth. Now it's your turn." It was short, powerful, dangerous. Inside the Council headquarters, panic turned to rage. The memory core had been uploaded. The truth, the real truth about the war, about Earth, about who gave the first order, was no longer hidden. The Council had lost control of the story. Councillor Tar, a tall, silver-skinned being with no mouth and glowing eyes, slammed a metal fist against the wall. "How did they find Cairo Prime?" He hissed in his native telepathic tongue. Another councillor replied coldly, "The ghost net never died. It just slept." "But now," Tar growled, "now the galaxy doubts us. We cannot rule a galaxy built on questions." The silencers were given one last order. "Destroy anyone who dares speak the message. No trials. No mercy." Meanwhile, the ghost net had done something unexpected. It activated a second layer. A key embedded in the memory core began opening old command lines that had been shut for years. Maps, codes, coordinates, and one word that repeated again and again: Horizon. No one knew what Horizon was. Not yet. But everyone, rebels, scavengers, Union deserters, began chasing it. The race to Cairo Prime had ended in fire. Now, the race to Horizon had begun. On a cargo moon called Vena 5, a smuggler named Reyna sat at a small bar, watching the message replay on her personal screen. She had heard of Cal. He was a legend among the old rebel fighters. But she never believed he was still alive. Now she saw him die in a flash of light, protecting a truth the Council tried to bury. She finished her drink and stood. "You're going?" the bartender asked. Reyna nodded. Cairo was just the start. Something bigger's coming. She wasn't alone. All across space, people began to move. Pilots, coders, hackers, even ex-Council scientists. All chasing Horizon. All chasing the next piece of truth. Jara, who had escaped the silencers back on Trass 4, was hiding on an asteroid station near the outer rim. Her system lit up with a flashing signal. The second layer of Cal's message had been received. She stared at the map the AI had unlocked. A black zone, far beyond the last Union-controlled system. No trade lanes, no colonies, no name. But the file said Horizon was there. Jara grabbed her bag and moved quickly. She had no ship, but she had something better: the coordinates and a contact. She opened a line to Reyna. "You saw it?" Jara asked. "Already heading there," Reyna replied. "But if you've got something more." "I do. The AI. It's still active." Reyna whistled. "Then we better hurry. The Council's going to throw everything they've got." And they did. In just 2 days, 37 small ships were destroyed. 3 planets declared emergency law. Any broadcast of the signal was punished by death. But the more they tried to silence it, the louder the truth became. The AI, once Cal's companion, was now free, traveling across the ghost net like a ghost. It sent out warnings. It shared coordinates. It even started guiding ships toward Horizon. And then something strange happened. The AI found a third lock, one that it didn't recognize, one that hadn't been made by humans. It was ancient, alien, older than any Council record. Whatever Horizon was, it wasn't just human. Reyna and Jara met at a dead station in orbit around a cracked planet. Their ship was small, armed only with basic shields and a hacked Union scanner, but it was fast. Together, they followed the AI's signal into deep space. The stars grew dim. Time felt slow. And finally, they arrived. Before them hung a giant black sphere. Not a planet, not a base. A machine. No lights, no movement, just silence. But the AI confirmed it. "This is Horizon." Jara stared through the window. "What is it?" Reyna said nothing. They approached slowly. Suddenly, lights flickered on. Not many, just a few. And a voice, old, layered, not fully human, echoed through their ship's speaker. "You brought the truth." Reyna's hand hovered over the engine controls. "What is this thing?" The AI answered softly. "It's not a weapon. It's a recorder, a keeper of history, one that was hidden, because it remembers everything." Jara's eyes widened. "Even before the war?" "Yes," the AI said. "Even before the Council." The voice spoke again. "Do you want the galaxy to see?" Reyna and Jara looked at each other. And then Jara replied, "Yes, show them everything." The machine began to open. Inside, the light of 10,000 memories shone like stars. Horizon was not just the truth. It was the full story. And now, the entire galaxy would have a choice: believe the lie, or face the truth. The Council had lost control. Their lie had been exposed, their silencers failed, and the ghost net was alive again. But they were not ready to fall. The Council had ruled for centuries, not with kindness, but with fear, and fear was a weapon they still controlled. From the Black Tower at the center of Union space, the Council sent a signal to all loyal worlds: prepare for emergency lockdown. All travel is forbidden. Anyone spreading the human message will be considered a traitor. The Union called it protection. Everyone else called it what it was: war. But this time, it wasn't against Earth. This time, the war was against the truth. Reyna's ship floated near the ancient machine called Horizon. She and Jara stood inside its central chamber, surrounded by glowing images, moving shapes, voices from the past. Horizon was a history machine. Not human, not Council. It had been here long before the Union existed. It had recorded everything. The first contact, the Council's secret meetings, the lies spoken in front of cameras, the real reason Earth had been attacked. As the data streamed into the ghost net, thousands of rebels, citizens, and ex-officers saw it with their own eyes. There was no more doubt. The Council had destroyed Earth to stop a warning. The humans had discovered something, a secret buried deep in the Union's original founding, a signal, a presence, something the Council didn't understand and couldn't control. So they erased the message by erasing Earth. But they failed. And now the message was awake again. On a warship above a loyal Council world, Commander Frel stood in front of his troops. He had served the Union his entire life, believed in peace, believed in the Council. Now he wasn't sure what he believed. He had seen Cal's last message. He had watched the Horizon recordings. And he had made a choice. Frel turned to his second-in-command, a young officer with wide eyes. "Order the crew to stand down," he said. "But sir, the Council says." "I don't care what they say. We don't destroy people for telling the truth." The officer paused, then nodded. Across the stars, other ships did the same. Not all, but enough. Back on the Council tower, rage filled the air. Councillor Tar paced in circles. "They're turning on us," he hissed. "Even our captains." Another councillor growled. "Then we crush them. We send the Omega Fleet." Whispers spread through the chamber. The Omega Fleet was the Union's secret army, never used before, built in silence, armed with weapons designed to erase entire planets without warning. A final tool for a final war. The order was signed. Targets were chosen. One of them was Horizon. Reyna and Jara received the alert just minutes later. The AI's voice came through, fast and sharp. "Omega Fleet moving. Estimated arrival. 4 hours." Jara froze. "They're going to destroy Horizon." "They want the truth gone for good," Reyna said. "But if we leave now, we lose the chance to share the full archive," Jara replied. The AI interrupted. "There's another way. We can send a full upload through the deep ghost net, but it will take power, more than this station has." Reyna narrowed her eyes. "Then we give it everything we've got." The countdown had begun. Across Rebel space, ships scrambled to help. Old satellites turned to boost the signal. Engineers on dead moons lit up power cells that hadn't been used in decades. Children who had never known Earth drew the symbol of Horizon in the dust, while their parents prepared for war. Everyone knew this was it. One last shot to break the Council's chains. The Omega Fleet came fast, silent ships with no lights, no warning. Their goal was simple: destroy Horizon, and with it, erase history. As the fleet entered the black zone near Horizon, Reyna and Jara stood at the command panel inside the machine's heart. "The truth is ready," the AI said. "Begin final upload." Reyna pressed the switch. All over the galaxy, lights flared. The ghost net screamed with energy. The Horizon machine shook. Its surface glowed. Its memory core spun like a sun. The data, every file, every recording, every secret, rushed through the stars faster than any ship. The truth could not be stopped now. But the Omega Fleet was not far behind. The first missile hit Horizon's outer shell. A blast of light tore through the sky. Jara held onto the railing as the room shook. "One more minute," she shouted. Reyna nodded. "Keep it steady." A second missile struck. The power dimmed, but the AI's voice was calm. "Upload complete." Reyna smiled, even through the smoke. "Then we win." A final explosion ripped through the station. Silence. Then, across the galaxy, screens turned blue. Symbols of the Council disappeared, and a new image appeared. A voice spoke. "You have been lied to," and the people listened. The Council tried to shut it down, tried to destroy every terminal, silence every speaker, erase every image. But it was too late. The truth was everywhere. And the people had made their choice. The Union began to break. Not with guns, with voices. And all of them were saying the same word: Horizon. The stars were no longer quiet. From one end of the galaxy to the other, people were rising. Not just rebels or soldiers, but workers, pilots, miners, students. All of them had seen the truth now. The lies of the Council had been exposed, and the memory of Earth had returned in full force. The voice of Horizon echoed in every system. You have been lied to. The war began with fear, and fear must now end. The Council was still dangerous, but they were no longer trusted. And the silencers, the secret force used to destroy truth, were now being hunted. On a dark planet called Dresden 3, a silencer team waited inside a steel base. Their commander, Voss, had once believed he was doing the right thing. He thought he was protecting peace. Now he wasn't so sure. He had watched the Horizon broadcast. He had seen the files. He had seen Kel's face, the human who gave his life to send the truth. And Voss had felt something strange. Shame. Outside, a small army of rebel ships circled the base, but they weren't firing. They were broadcasting a message. Stand down. You were used. Join us. Inside, some silencers began to remove their helmets. Others still clutched their weapons tightly. Voss took a long breath. We were told humans started it, he said softly. But they didn't, his second-in-command replied. The Council did. He looked down at his weapon, then back up at the screen. Enough killing, he said. And for the first time in years, a silencer base opened its doors, not to attack, but to surrender. Across the galaxy, similar scenes unfolded. Some silencer squads fought back, but their support was gone. Supplies stopped. Signals cut. Their leaders silent. Others, like Voss, chose a different path. They removed their masks and told the world what they knew. Some even shared hidden files, orders, names, secret missions. The final truth hit harder than anyone expected. Some of the worst acts blamed on Earth were faked by the Council's own hands. Jara sat inside Reyna's ship, watching the incoming reports. Screen after screen showed silencers abandoning their posts, civilians cheering, Council statues falling. It's happening, she whispered. Reyna nodded. They're cracking. The AI voice echoed gently through the room. The ghost net is stable. The truth is everywhere. But it wasn't over. Council forces are retreating toward the core worlds, the AI added. They're preparing a final defense. Reyna frowned. They'll never give up. Not until someone makes them. And who's going to do that? Jara asked. Reyna looked out the window, her eyes sharp. We are. Far away in the core worlds, the last stronghold of Council power, Councillor Tar paced in fury. The silencers were loyal, he hissed. They were our blade, our shield. Now, they were gone. The Council towers stood alone. Ships were gathering outside their territory. Not just rebel fleets, former Union ships, civilian crafts, even old Earth-built destroyers that had been hidden away. And at the front of it all, Reyna's ship. She opened a signal to the galaxy. The final message. You've seen the truth. You've heard the lies. Now you must choose. Let them hide behind walls, or tear those walls down. Behind her, Jara added, this is for Earth, for Kale, for every voice that was silenced. No more. The screen went black, and the fleet moved forward. Inside the Council tower, alarms rang. Councillor Tar watched from the window. The sky was full of lights. Every star a ship. Every ship a message. We are not afraid anymore. He whispered to himself, even if we fall, they will never forget. For the first time, he was right. The final battle was not long. The Council's defense was strong, but the attackers were stronger in purpose. They weren't fighting for power. They were fighting for truth. Silencers who had once served the Council now led the charge against it. Machines built by the Union were turned against their makers. And when the tower fell, it was not with a scream, but with silence. The same silence they had forced on so many. Reyna, Jara, and the AI stood at the top of the broken tower. Below them, people gathered. Soldiers hugged civilians. Old rebels cried. Children held hands and looked up at the stars. "We did it," Jara whispered. "No," Reyna replied. "They did it." The AI added softly, "And now the galaxy must decide how to begin again." Reyna looked up. "Then let's give them a start." She pressed a button on her wrist. The symbol of horizon appeared in the sky above every free world. A circle of light. A promise. Never again. The war was over. The council had fallen. Their ships were grounded. Their towers broken. Their voices, once feared, were now silent. Across the galaxy, people walked freely in the streets again. No more hiding. No more fear. The stars felt bigger, brighter, and open once more. But the galaxy was not healed yet. Truth had returned, yes, but with it came pain. The stories revealed by Horizon showed betrayal, lies, and the destruction of Earth. Entire families had been erased, cultures lost, dreams crushed, and though people now knew the truth, they were left asking, "What do we do next?" Reyna stood at the edge of a wide platform on New Solaris Station, a place once ruled by council commanders. Now it had become the meeting point of a new alliance. Not a government. Not a military. Something different. A circle of voices, one from every system, species, and colony. No weapons. Just truth. Just choice. Reyna looked across the sea of people below. Jara stood beside her, holding a small hologram of Earth's last known image. Reyna raised her voice. "We didn't come here to build another empire. We didn't fight to sit in their place. We came here to remember what they try to erase." The crowd listened in silence. "We have seen what power without truth becomes. We've seen what fear creates. And now, we say, never again." Applause broke across the platform. Not loud, not wild, but honest. Over the next weeks, the Ghost Net became more than a tool for rebels. It became the heart of the new galaxy. No single ruler controlled it. Anyone could speak. Anyone could question. And if someone lied, the net showed the truth. The Horizon Eye, now known as Echo, stayed active, serving as a guardian of memory. It didn't lead. It didn't command. It simply reminded everyone of the past. And for once, people listened. Jara walked through a small school on the rebuilt moon of Verdun 9. Children gathered around her, asking questions. Did Earth really have blue skies? Was Kal real? Why did the Council hate humans? Jara knelt down and answered every question with care. She didn't make the past pretty. She didn't lie to protect anyone. She told the truth, even when it hurt, because the truth was their power now. Far beyond the core systems, something new had begun. On a quiet planet, untouched by war, humans walked again. They weren't many, a few thousand, saved through hidden colonies and deep cryovaults. Their return had been kept secret, until now. Reyna stood in the middle of a green valley, watching a group of them rebuild old Earth houses, plant trees, raise children. One of the humans, an old man with tired eyes, smiled at her. "You kept our memory alive." Reyna shook her head. "You did. We just found it." He looked up at the stars. "So much to fix." "But now," Reyna said softly, "we can." Echo, the AI once locked inside the vault with Kal, sent its final message to the galaxy, broadcast on the anniversary of Horizon's awakening. A lie can win for a time, but the truth always waits. This galaxy was built on silence. Now we build it on memory. Let every voice speak. Let no voice be erased. People across worlds lit lanterns in the sky, in memory of those lost. For Earth, for Kal, for everyone whose names were hidden or forgotten. Now, their names were everywhere. Written on ships, spoken in songs, taught to children. Reyna and Jara sat beside a small fire under open stars, just outside the growing human colony. Jarrah stared into the flames. "Do you think it'll last?" "Peace." Reyna was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "Not forever. Nothing ever does." Jarrah looked at her. "Then what was it all for?" Reyna smiled gently. "So the next time someone lies, someone else will stand up. And the time after that, and the time after that, until silence becomes impossible." The fire cracked. A warm wind passed over them. Above, the stars burned, and among them, the horizon symbol glowed on every ship that sailed freely, every world that stood strong, every voice that refused to be silenced again. This wasn't just the end of a war. It was the beginning of a galaxy reborn, a future rewritten.